This audiobook is inspired by insights from McKinsey's public report, The Next Big Arenas of Competition. It is not financial advice or an investment guide. This content is for educational and strategic awareness only. The 2040 Investment Map. A look ahead. In every era, there are turning points. Moments when the world doesn't just evolve, it jumps. This chapter is about one of those moments. According to McKinsey's latest research, we are standing at the edge of a global transformation that will redraw the map of opportunity, not just in one country or one sector, but across the entire global economy. The numbers are staggering. McKinsey identifies 18 fast-growing arenas that could generate between $29 and $48 trillion in annual global revenue by 2040. To put that in perspective, that's nearly half of global GDP today, completely redefined and reorganized around new sectors, new technologies, and new behaviors. But this isn't just about predicting the future. It's about positioning yourself inside of it. What is the 2040 investment map? This map isn't geographic, it's strategic. McKinsey's approach reframes industries as arenas, ecosystems of opportunity that cut across traditional sector lines. Where do I know? Because the old way of thinking in terms of automotive, banking, or healthcare no longer reflects how value is created in a digitally connected, rapidly changing world. Instead, the real battles for economic power in 2040 will play out in cross-sector spaces like generative AI and its software stack, next-generation mobility, including EVs and autonomy, obesity care, non-medical biotech, space-based tech, and energy storage. Each of these arenas blends technology, regulation, consumer behavior, and capital in new ways. And they're all growing at double or triple the rate of traditional sectors. In short, this is the new battlefield of global wealth. Why does this shift matter? Because if you keep thinking in terms of yesterday's categories, you'll miss tomorrow's fortunes. The next auto company might be a software firm with no car factories. The next healthcare giant may not sell medicine, but longevity data subscriptions. The next energy titan could control battery chemistry, not oil fields. The arena model forces us to think like visionaries. It pushes us to ask deeper questions. Where are ecosystems converging? What platforms will dominate value flow? Who will control the network effects? This is how winners will think in the next 15 years. Imagine this. You're not just an investor, you're a map maker. You look beyond trends and see tectonic movements. While others ask, what's hot this quarter? You're asking, what will compound for 15 years? This is the mindset McKinsey is calling for. And this audiobook will walk you through that mental map, one arena at a time. What's at stake? $48 trillion in new revenue potential. 18 arenas expanding 2 to 4 times faster than the global economy. Entirely new business models that blend software, science, and scale. But here's the kicker. Most people won't see it coming. They'll be too busy playing defense in legacy sectors while the real opportunities pass quietly, disguised as early stage, experimental, or too futuristic. The smart money is already moving. Private capital, sovereign wealth funds, and innovation-driven firms are pouring billions into these spaces, laying the groundwork for exponential advantage. In summary, this chapter isn't just an overview, it's your new lens. McKinsey's 2040 map reveals not where the world might go, but where it's already heading. The question is, will you be a passive observer of change or an architect of opportunity? Because those who position themselves early, those who understand the arenas, the networks, and the timing, will be the ones holding the levers of power by 2040. Next up, we break down the mindset behind this new map. Let's talk strategy and what it takes to win in an economy defined by acceleration. The arena mindset, how winners are forged in the next economy. Every generation has its own way of thinking about business. For decades, we talked in terms of sectors, energy, finance, manufacturing, tech. You picked a sector, you picked a strategy, you competed. But in today's world, that thinking is obsolete. According to McKinsey, the biggest winners in the future economy will not operate inside old boundaries. They'll compete across ecosystems, platforms, and converging value chains. That's where the arena mindset comes in. What is an arena? An arena is not just a market. It's a space where consumers, producers, technologies, and capital converge, often unpredictably, to create new forms of value. Here's what makes arenas powerful. They cut across traditional industries. They are built around consumer needs, not categories. They are fluid, dynamic, and fast evolving. They are platform-centric and reward scale, data, and speed. Think of it like this. Traditional industry logic is a map of city blocks. The arena mindset is like a satellite view, seeing how neighborhoods blend, interact, and morph over time. In arenas, the game is not to be the best car company. It's to redefine mobility. It's not to sell drugs. It's to optimize health span. It's not to mine lithium. It's to dominate energy storage. That's the shift. And it changes everything. McKinsey's research highlights a pattern. The leaders of the 2040 economy will share 5 dominant traits. First, network effects. Value grows as more users or data connect. Think Tesla's driving data or Apple's health platform. Second, platform economics. Rather than selling a product, winners build ecosystems. Think AWS, not just Amazon.com. Third, speed to scale. Exponential growth happens when tech meets timing. First movers with execution power win disproportionately. Fourth, cross-sector reach. Tomorrow's champions will operate at the intersection of biotech, software, and data, not within one box. Fifth, disruptive integration. The best companies won't just partner across value chains. They'll absorb, reconfigure, and own them. If that sounds like a different kind of business playbook, it is. And the players who embrace this model early will leave the old ones behind. In traditional business, you fight for market share. In arena competition, you fight to reshape the market entirely. Let's take one example. Obesity care. It's no longer just a medical sector, it's an arena. It now includes pharma like GLP-1 drugs, such as Ozempic fitness and nutrition tech insurance innovations, mental health and behavior tracking, wearables, and digital coaching. Each of these players is fighting not just to sell something, but to become the platform for weight wellness. Now multiply that kind of complexity across 18 future arenas. That's the battlefield of the 2040 investment map. This isn't just corporate theory. This is a tactical edge for entrepreneurs looking to launch next-gen startups, investors seeking asymmetric upside, executives aiming to future-proof their companies. If you understand how arenas function, you stop asking, what product should I build? And you start asking, what system do I control? What value chain can I rewire? Where are the boundaries blurring? And how can I lead the convergence? That's how fortunes will be made. You can't play a new game with old rules. Arenas are fast, flexible, and fiercely competitive. They reward clarity, speed, and bold thinking. They punish hesitation and outdated strategies. In this next economy, you don't just enter an industry, you enter a dynamic, evolving battlefield where every decision compounds. So ask yourself, are you thinking in categories or in ecosystems? Are you optimizing for quarterly results or positioning for exponential dominance? The winners of 2040 already know the answer. In the next chapter, we'll dive deep into the 18 arenas McKinsey identifies as the highest growth spaces and show you exactly where the world's smartest capital is heading. The Titans of Tomorrow, 18 high growth arenas you must watch. If you had a time machine and could invest in the internet in '94, in smartphones in 2007, or in AI in 2022, you wouldn't hesitate. This chapter is your time machine because McKinsey has identified 18 high-growth arenas, each with a potential to reshape trillion-dollar segments of the global economy by 2040. These are not guesses. They're based on deep modeling of demand shifts, technological progress, demographic trends, and capital flows. Let's break down the future, one arena at a time. McKinsey divides these arenas into 3 overarching domains. 1, transforming the core economy, reinventing what we already do, but faster, smarter, and more sustainable. 2, Pushing frontier innovations, unlocking entirely new markets with scientific and technological breakthroughs. 3. Catering to evolving human needs, meeting emerging consumer demands across health, identity, and daily life. Each domain contains 6 powerful arenas. Let's dive in. Transforming the core economy. These are foundational systems, re-engineered with tech and efficiency. 1. AI in the software stack. Gen AI is just the start. There's a full stack: models, chips, applications, infrastructure. 2. Digital trust and cybersecurity. As the digital economy scales, trust becomes currency. 3. Future of mobility, EVs, autonomy, and new ownership models converge into smart transport ecosystems. 4. Electrification and low-carbon solutions, clean fuels, smart grids, and decarbonization technologies are reshaping energy. 5. Energy storage and battery value chains. Whoever controls storage controls the energy transition. 6. Next-gen materials, graphene, bioplastics, and smart materials will power industries from aerospace to fashion, pushing frontier innovations. These are moonshots, but with momentum. 7. Nuclear fusion, no longer science fiction. Commercial fusion is inching closer. 8. Commercial space, satellites, data, and defense. Space is now an economic layer. 9. Quantum technologies, quantum computing and encryption will disrupt finance, pharma, and national security. 10. Non-medical biotech. Industrial enzymes, synthetic biology, and lab-grown meat are remaking manufacturing. 11. Web3 and digital assets. Infrastructure for digital ownership, smart contracts, and decentralized networks. 12. Advanced connectivity, 6G, edge computing, and ultra-fast networks enabling everything from automation to the metaverse, catering to evolving human needs. These reflect shifting global priorities. 13. Obesity care, a trillion-dollar market of medical innovation, wellness, and digital coaching. 14. Longevity and active aging. Longer lives require better care, biotech, diagnostics, and prevention. 15. Mental and behavioral health. Therapy platforms, neurotech, and mental performance tools are surging. 16. Identity, community, and influence. Creators, virtual identities, and digital platforms drive how we connect and consume. 17. Future of work and talent. Hybrid work, AI tools, and skills-based hiring redefine productivity. 18. Future of mobility for consumers. Mobility as a service, urban redesign, and personal transport customization. Why does this list matter? Because these 18 arenas aren't just interesting, they're investable. Most are doubling in size every 5 to 7 years. Many are backed by policy, infrastructure, and global tailwinds. If you're an investor, this is your scouting report. If you're a founder, this is your launch pad. If you're a learner, this is your compass. Don't treat these as 18 separate ideas. Treat them as a portfolio of the future. Final thought, from trends to titans. McKinsey isn't forecasting fads. They're mapping economic gravity wells, places where innovation, capital, and talent will gather at accelerating speed. And the companies that dominate these arenas, they'll be the Amazons and Alphabets of the next era. In the next chapter, we go deeper into the most powerful of these, AI and automation, the intelligence infrastructure of the 21st century. AI and automation facing the intelligence infrastructure of the 21st century. There are revolutions you watch and revolutions you join. AI is not just a technology, it's the foundational infrastructure of the next economy. If you think of electricity as the enabler of the industrial age, AI is the intelligence layer powering the digital age. In this chapter, we uncover why AI and automation will define how we build, compete, and create value between now and 2040. Most people hear AI and think of chatbots or viral tools, but McKinsey's report makes something very clear. There's a whole stack of value being created layer by layer. Let's break it down. Foundation models. These are the brains behind it all. Large-scale AI models trained on massive datasets. Think GPT, Claude, Gemini. Infrastructure and chips. The race for GPUs, neural engines, and high-efficiency chips is critical. NVIDIA's rise is just the start. This layer is the oil field of AI, application layer, AI copilots, personalized agents, smart design tools. The interfaces that will touch every business process. Fine-tuning and deployment, industry-specific customization, real-time adaptation, and privacy-centric AI are creating new services across every field. Data and feedback loops. Companies that control clean, real-time data and user behavior will gain exponential AI advantages. Each of these layers is a business, a startup, an investment, a trillion-dollar opportunity in motion. But AI doesn't stop at algorithms. It's merging with automation and reshaping the labor market. We're not talking about robots in factories. We're talking about intelligent warehouse systems, automated logistics and delivery, AI-driven diagnostics in hospitals, smart manufacturing and microchip fabs, digital workers handling customer service, invoicing, scheduling, and compliance. By 2040, millions of workflows across every industry will be partially or fully automated. And here's the insight McKinsey emphasizes: I will not eliminate all jobs, but it will redefine what humans are paid for. Creativity, judgment, strategy, empathy. These become premium skills in a world where routine is automated. The scale of AI's economic impact is almost hard to comprehend. According to McKinsey, AI could add between $17 and $26 trillion to the global economy by 2040. That's equivalent to the current GDP of the United States. At it again. Up to 70% of companies could adopt some form of AI by the end of this decade. And the advantage compounds. Companies that adopt early don't just reduce costs. They accelerate learning, improve decision-making, and innovate faster. AI becomes a flywheel. Once it's spinning, others can't catch up. Imagine this. A startup uses AI to generate product ideas, design prototypes, predict demand, optimize supply chains, and personalize customer support with a team of 5. Meanwhile, a legacy competitor still runs on quarterly meetings and spreadsheets. Who do you bet on? This is why AI is not optional. It's foundational. The winners of 2040 will not be the ones who experimented with AI. They'll be the ones who built on it. Here's how to act on this. Invest in AI infrastructure, not just applications. Chips, models, data centers, and cloud layers will mint fortunes. Focus on industry-specific IT. Tools fine-tuned for law, medicine, engineering, or logistics will create deep moats. Bet on augmenters, not replacers. Tools that enhance human creativity and decision-making are more likely to scale fast. Watch the regulators. Countries that balance innovation with trust and data rights will become AI superpowers. Final thought. This is the railroad's moment. In the 1800s, railroads didn't just create transportation companies. They created entire economies around speed, scale, and reach. AI will do the same. It will reshape not just tech, but health, energy, law, design, education, and governance. So ask yourself, are you building on the rails or watching from the platform? In the next chapter, we shift focus to another trillion-dollar transformation, the future of energy, from fossil fuels to fusion, batteries, and beyond. Energy and sustainability, betting on batteries, fusion, and the energy transition. If data is the new oil, then energy is still the bloodline of civilization. But the way we produce, store, and distribute that energy is undergoing its biggest transformation in over a century. This isn't just about going green, it's about a full system shift, one that opens up new arenas of investment, innovation, and geopolitical leverage. McKinsey calls this one of the defining battlegrounds of the 2040 economy. Let's break it down. Think of the energy transition as a 3-layer revolution. Generation, renewables like solar, wind, and nuclear fusion. Storage, batteries, thermal storage, hydrogen fuel cells. Management, smart grids, microgrids, and AI-driven energy systems. Each of these areas is spawning entirely new markets. Together, they form a $10 trillion global shift. Why does this transition matter? Because it's not optional. Three forces are converging. Climate pressure, governments and corporations are racing toward net zero targets. Carbon has a price now, and cleaner wins. Geopolitical realignment. Fossil fuel dependence creates strategic vulnerabilities. Nations want resilience, not reliance. Tech economics, renewables are now cheaper than coal in many markets. Batteries are getting smaller, cheaper, and more powerful. This isn't environmental activism. This is market logic at scale. If there's a single keystone in this shift, it's batteries. They determine EV ubiquity, range, and adoption, grid flexibility, renewable storage, mobile electronics, industrial backup systems. Here's what's happening right now. Global battery demand will increase 15-fold by 2040. Lithium, cobalt, and rare earth supply chains are the new oil pipelines. China, the US, and Europe are racing to secure minerals and build gigafactories. Solid-state batteries, sodium-ion alternatives, and recycling breakthroughs are accelerating. In other words, whoever controls batteries controls the transition. Let's talk about nuclear fusion. For decades, it was the eternal promise, always 30 years away. But now it's getting real. Private fusion startups are receiving billions in funding. Governments are fast-tracking regulatory approval. Breakthroughs in plasma stability and magnetics are shortening development timelines. If fusion becomes commercially viable, it could redefine global power dynamics. Limitless, clean, decentralized energy would disrupt not just fossil fuel giants, but the very architecture of national power. The race isn't just scientific, it's strategic. Where should you invest? McKinsey outlines several high-potential arenas: battery value chains, from raw materials to recycling; energy software platforms, managing flows, pricing, and demand; EV charging infrastructure in cities, highways, and homes; decentralized grids and microgrids, powering smart cities and remote regions; carbon capture and storage to buy time for heavy industries; green hydrogen for long-haul transport and industrial heat. Each one is investable, measurable, scalable. But the real prize? Owning a layer of the ecosystem, not just playing in it. Imagine this. You build a platform that manages energy for 100,000 homes, optimizing solar input, battery storage, and EV charging in real time. You don't own the panels, you don't build the batteries, but you own the system. That's where the leverage is, because in a world of fragmented energy generation, coordination is king. The energy transition isn't a single trend. It's a convergence of economics, geopolitics, and innovation. It will reshape trade routes, create new resource dependencies, influence how wars are fought, dictate how cities are designed, unlock unprecedented private sector opportunity. You don't need to bet on every technology, but you do need to understand the flow. Follow the energy, and you'll follow the money. Final thought. The new energy order. By 2040, energy won't just be cleaner, it will be smarter, more distributed, and more contested. And those who grasp its complexity and claim their stake in batteries, grids, or fusion, they won't just earn profits. They'll hold influence in a reshaped world. In the next chapter, we'll leave Earth and explore the new capitalist frontier: space, satellites, data, defense, and the trillion-dollar economy above our heads. Space, the final capitalist frontier. For most of history, space was the realm of science fiction, government missions, and Cold War rivalries. But that era is over. Today, space is a commercial battlefield, one where private companies, nations, and investors are racing to unlock a new trillion-dollar economy. This isn't just about rockets. It's about data, defense, infrastructure, and the invisible networks that now orbit above us, shaping life below. Welcome to the final capitalist frontier. McKinsey identifies space as one of the fastest emerging arenas in the 2040 investment map. Why? Because the cost of accessing space has dropped by 90% over the last 2 decades. Thanks to companies like SpaceX, Rocket Lab, and Blue Origin, launching a satellite today is cheaper, faster, and more precise than ever. And that access has opened the floodgates to 5 high-growth subsectors. Satellites and constellations. LEO satellites are now delivering. Internet to remote regions. Real-time Earth observation. Encrypted global communications. AI-powered weather and climate data. Space-based data and analytics. Industries like agriculture, shipping, defense, and disaster response increasingly rely on intelligence fed from orbit. Defense and strategic capabilities. Nations are investing billions in satellite defense, anti-satellite tech, and space surveillance. This is the new military high ground. In-orbit services, satellite refueling, maintenance drones, orbital recycling. A new category of space logistics is emerging. Launch and infrastructure. Rockets, spaceports, payload services. These are the picks and shovels of the space economy. Let's be clear, this is no longer speculative. Over 5,000 commercial satellites are already in orbit. SpaceX alone plans to launch over 30,000 satellites in its Starlink network. The space economy is expected to reach $1 trillion by 2040, up from $500 billion today. More importantly, terrestrial industries now rely on space. Supply chains use GPS and satellite tracking. Banks sync global networks through orbital systems. Airlines and shipping lines depend on geospatial feeds. Climate models and insurance risk assessments run on space-collected data. Space isn't just out there, it's integrated into everything down here. Imagine this. You build a SaaS company that uses satellite data to help African farmers track soil health, rainfall patterns, and market pricing. Your platform isn't in space, but your competitive advantage is. This is the key. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to win in the space race. You just have to harness the infrastructure being built above you. Where's the smart money going? McKinsey and top VCs are tracking key opportunity zones. Satellite manufacturers, microsatellites, custom payloads, ground infrastructure, antennas, data relays, satellite internet, cybersecurity for orbital systems, space insurance and risk modeling, interoperability protocols, standards between satellite networks. And here's the kicker. Space startups are still underpriced relative to their long-term impact. We're in the early innings, the dial-up phase of a broadband space future. Beyond business, space is now a strategic asset. China, the US, and India are racing to dominate lunar and orbital zones. Space is no longer just exploration. It's national security infrastructure. Treaties, rules, and territorial claims are still in flux. This means startups that solve trust, tracking, or coordination problems will become essential. Who will regulate space traffic? Who will verify data authenticity from orbit? Who will manage orbital real estate? These aren't theoretical questions. They're entrepreneurial openings. Final thought. Don't watch the stars. Own them. The space race of the 1960s was about flags and firsts. The space race of the 2040s? It will be about platforms and profits. And just like the internet, the biggest winners won't be the ones building cables. They'll be the ones building on top of them. In the next chapter, we come back down to earth and plug into the digital backbone of the modern world: cloud, cybersecurity, and infrastructure at scale. Digital dominance, cloud, cybersecurity, and infrastructure at scale. Imagine trying to run a modern economy without roads, electricity, or water. That's what the digital economy would be like without its backbone: cloud infrastructure, cybersecurity, and data connectivity. In the 2040 investment map, McKinsey makes this clear. The new global economy isn't just being powered by technology. It's being built on top of invisible infrastructure. Let's break down what that really means and where the opportunities lie. Cloud is the new concrete. Today, cloud infrastructure is what roads and railways were in the industrial age. It's where applications live, data moves, and intelligence flows. And it's growing fast. By 2030, over 80% of enterprise workloads are expected to run on the cloud. The global cloud market will exceed $1.5 trillion. Edge computing will dominate sectors like manufacturing, logistics, and autonomy. But this isn't just about storage or processing. It's about control. Cloud players aren't just vendors, they're platform owners, controlling software, services, AI models, and analytics from the infrastructure up. As more of our world goes online, trust becomes currency. Cyber threats are no longer rare events. They're everyday risks, ransomware targeting hospitals, nation-state attacks on financial systems, deepfake fraud in enterprise communications, AI-generated phishing that fools even trained professionals. And this is where opportunity emerges. The cybersecurity market is expected to exceed $500 billion by 2030, and it's still fragmented. McKinsey highlights three explosive growth areas: zero trust architecture, never trust, always verify; identity and access management, securing who accesses what in real time; secure data enclaves, processing sensitive data though without ever exposing it. If data is oil, cybersecurity is the refinery, making that raw input safe, usable, and valuable. Imagine this. You're a founder. You don't build a flashy app. You build a middleware platform that helps 10,000 companies comply with global cybersecurity regulations in one click. You're not the star of the show. You're the infrastructure everyone depends on. That's where digital dominance begins, with silent, essential systems that scale beneath the surface. Let's talk connectivity, the final layer. The more intelligent our systems become, the more connected they must be. That means high-speed, low-latency 5G and 6G, fiber networks in emerging markets, satellite constellations beaming internet globally, industrial sensors generating trillions of data points per second. This isn't just about speed, it's about enablement. No edge computing, no AI in agriculture, no real-time networks, no self-driving cars, no digital plumbing, no telemedicine or smart cities. McKinsey emphasizes this. The next economy won't just run on data, it will run through it. So where should you invest? Smart capital is flowing into data center REITs and hyperscale infrastructure builders, cybersecurity as a service platforms, API, infrastructure powering developer ecosystems, digital identity, verification for finance, health, and logistics, middleware orchestration tools, managing cloud complexity. Why? Because these aren't one-time sales. They're recurring, compounding, and defensible. When you own infrastructure, you own the toll roads of the future economy. Final thought, build beneath the surface. Everyone sees the apps, the headlines, the shiny platforms. But few see the cables, the protocols, and the firewalls that make it all possible. In the 2040 economy, the biggest returns won't come from what's visible. They'll come from what's vital and hidden. If you're looking for leverage, longevity, and defensibility, look beneath the interface. In the next chapter, we'll explore a different kind of infrastructure, the one inside our bodies: health, biotech, in the race to redesign human longevity. Health and biotech, from genes to longevity. If the 20th century was about extending life expectancy, the 21st century will be about improving life quality and longevity. McKinsey's 2040 investment map highlights one truth. Healthcare is being redefined, not by hospitals, but by platforms, data, and biotech breakthroughs. This isn't just about curing disease, it's about reshaping the biology of aging, unlocking peak performance, and transforming health into a daily, data-driven ecosystem. Let's dive in. For decades, healthcare was reactive. You got sick, then got treated. But in the new model, health becomes predictive, preventative, and personalized. And that creates massive opportunity across four intersecting arenas: non-medical biotech, synthetic biology, enabling lab-grown meat, biomaterials, and enzyme-based production; precision medicine, genomic sequencing, biomarker tracking, and AI diagnostics for personalized care; longevity and aging tech, anti-aging supplements, stem cells, senolytics, focused on better years, not just more years; mental and cognitive health, digital therapeutics, neurostimulation, brain-computer interfaces, tackling the inner frontier. This isn't just evolution, it's a revolution in how we define health. Why is this happening now? Three powerful forces are converging. Data explosion, from wearables to genome sequencing to real-time biometrics. Consumer demand. People want agency over their health, not just prescriptions. Biotech innovation, CRISPR, mRNA, microbiome research, and AI drug discovery are collapsing timelines. The result? Healthcare is moving out of clinics and into the cloud, and into the hands of empowered consumers. Imagine this. It's 2035. You subscribe to a health optimization platform. Each day, it analyzes your sleep, nutrition, stress, and biomarkers, adjusts your personalized supplements or medications, schedules a telehealth session with an AI clinician if anything spikes, updates your life insurance and fitness plan accordingly. You're not just treated, so you're tuned. That's the future, and every layer, from wearable to data lake to pharmacy integration, is a business opportunity. McKinsey emphasizes this shift. Health is moving from care delivery to life management. That enables direct-to-consumer health tech startups with subscription model B2B diagnostics as a service platforms, insurers and employers integrating health data to manage risk, big tech and retail, Amazon, Apple, CVS, entering the care ecosystem. Health is no longer siloed. It's becoming ubiquitous, ambient, and embedded in everyday life. Where should you invest? Look beyond traditional pharma. Focus on biotech platforms, not just one drug, but programmable pipelines, longevity startups, targeting inflammation, senescence, and cellular repair, remote diagnostics, from cancer detection to continuous hormone tracking, health data management, privacy-first systems for personal biometrics, drug discovery, reducing years of research to months. As people live longer and healthier, they'll demand more control, more precision, and more proactivity. And that's where value will be created. What's the 2040 outlook? The global health and wellness market could exceed $8 trillion. Longevity solutions will be a standard part of retirement planning. Biotech firms will behave more like platforms than labs. The line between healthcare, fitness, and tech will be completely blurred. We're not just treating illness, we're building new baselines for human performance. Final thought, health is a platform. If you want to build in one of the most meaningful and monetizable arenas of the next 15 years, build for health span, not just lifespan, because the winners in this space won't just cure disease. They'll help people live stronger, longer, smarter lives, and they'll build entire ecosystems to support that journey. Next up, a movement that's not in the body, but on the streets. The future of mobility, EVs, autonomy, and the new shape of cities. Mobility reinvented, EVs, autonomy, and the new shape of cities. Mobility has always been about more than movement. It shapes economies, defines cities, and determines who has access to opportunity. In the past, cars reshaped nations. In the future, smart, sustainable, and autonomous transport will reshape everything again, from how we commute to how cities breathe. McKinsey's 2040 investment map positions mobility as one of the most dynamic and disruptive arenas of all. And for good reason. Over $2 trillion in global revenue is up for grabs. The shift to electrification is already underway and accelerating. By 2040, EVs could make up 80 to 90% of new car sales in major markets. Battery prices are falling. Energy density is rising. Governments are tightening emissions regulations. Automakers are going all electric, investing billions in R&D and retooling. But this isn't just a vehicle shift. It's a platform shift, where EVs become smart, connected, and upgradable machines, and every part of the value chain, from batteries and chips to charging networks and software, is now a business opportunity. Autonomous driving has moved from fantasy to funded. McKinsey outlines a 3-layer model, level 1 and 2, driver assistance like lane assist and adaptive cruise. Level 3 and 4, partial autonomy in defined conditions. Level 5, full autonomy, no human input at all. By 2040, autonomy won't be niche. It'll be baked into ride-sharing fleets, delivery services, logistics chains, and personal vehicles. The result? Massive labor cost savings, productivity gains, and business model reinvention. New players, Tesla, Waymo, Chinese startups, are racing to control both the hardware and the AI stack that powers it all. Imagine this. You open an app, an autonomous electric pod arrives. You step in, no driver, no emissions. The route adapts in real time to traffic, weather, and your calendar. Inside, you catch up on emails or take a nap. This is not science fiction. This is urban transport by 2040. And the real winners? They won't just build the vehicle. They'll build the ecosystem, the platform, the charging network, the payments, the city integrations. As EVs and autonomy spread, cities must evolve. Expect to see car-free city centers with micro-mobility zones, dynamic curb space for deliveries, scooters, and rideshare, smart traffic grids using AI and sensors, underground freight tunnels, and elevated AV lanes, urban planners, real estate developers, infrastructure investors. They'll all play a role. Those who understand mobility as a system, not just a product, will lead the way. McKinsey flags several hot investment zones: EV battery supply chains, from mining to recycling, charging infrastructure, high-speed and vehicle-to-grid autonomy software, including AI, vision systems, and simulation mobility as a service platforms, subscription-based transport bundles, urban data and traffic analytics, optimizing flow and safety. This arena is ideal for layered innovation. Hardware, software, platforms, policy, it all collides here. The 2040 mobility outlook is massive. Smart mobility could exceed $5 trillion. AVs could reduce traffic fatalities by up to 90%. Entire logistics sectors may go fully autonomous. Urban carbon footprints could shrink dramatically. Mobility may shift permanently from ownership to access. Final thought was, don't just build vehicles, build movement. Mobility is about more than transport. It's about access, efficiency, and design for the human experience. The companies that win in 2040 won't just make better cars. They'll redefine how the world moves and what cities, citizens, and systems need to thrive. In the next chapter, we zoom out again to explore the global chessboard, frontier markets, demographics, and the rise of the underdog nations. Frontier markets. The underdog advantage. The world isn't just changing, it's rebalancing. For decades, the economic spotlight has stayed on the same players: the US, China, Europe. But as we approach 2040, new contenders are stepping onto the stage. McKinsey's 2040 investment map identifies a powerful and underappreciated force: frontier markets. Regions often overlooked are emerging as engines of innovation, growth, and disruption. Let's explore why. What are frontier markets? They're the economies sitting just behind major emerging players like India and Brazil. Think Vietnam, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Colombia, Kenya, Uzbekistan. These countries are often characterized by rapid population growth, urbanization and rising digital penetration, youth-dominated labor markets, improving infrastructure, untapped industries. They're not without challenges, but they offer something rare: high growth potential with low global exposure. And in a saturated world, that's gold. Three megatrends are converging. Demographic gravity. By 2040, over half the world's working-age population will live in Africa and South Asia. That's workforce, consumption, and scale, all rising. Digital leapfrogging. Many frontier markets are skipping legacy systems and going straight to mobile banking, remote education, and decentralized infrastructure. Global supply chain realignment. With rising geopolitical tensions and supply shocks, companies are diversifying production. Frontier markets are next in line. This is not just a development story. It's a strategic pivot in global economics. Imagine this. It's 25. Everyone's focused on the next AI startup in San Francisco, but you fund a logistics platform in Lagos, Nigeria, solving real-time inventory, tracking for local retailers using mobile phones and solar charging. By 2030, it's the backbone of West Africa's small business economy. That's the kind of underpriced opportunity frontier markets offer. Where is the smart money going? McKinsey highlights several emerging arenas in these regions: fintech, mobile payments, micro-lending, digital identity; agritech, AI farming, satellite crop monitoring, climate-smart tools; clean energy, off-grid solar, community microgrids, battery leasing; education platforms, remote learning for low-bandwidth environments; urban infrastructure, rethinking transit and waste for the 21st century. The key? Solving real problems at massive scale, not just exporting Western tech. Investment principles for frontier markets, local partnerships. The best insights come from the ground, longer timelines. Exponential payoffs aren't instant adapted models. What works in New York may flop in Nairobi. Resilience mindset. Volatility is real, but so is the upside. This is not spray and pray venture capital. It's precision impact investing, where profit and purpose align. What to watch by 2040? Africa's GDP could triple. Southeast Asia could become a top 3 manufacturing hub. Internet access may reach over 90% of the global population. Global capital will flow into previously ignored regions. The next unicorns may not come from Silicon Valley, but from Dhaka or Dakar. Frontier markets won't replace legacy powers, but they will redraw the global map with new centers of gravity. Final thought, bet on the bold. History shows the greatest returns often come from where others aren't looking. Frontier markets are noisy, risky, complex, but they're also full of talent, drive, and unmet demand. And for the builders and backers who move early, they offer not just profit, but a chance to shape entire systems. In the next chapter, we zoom in on how to survive and thrive in uncertain times. Capital allocation in a volatile world. The Smart Investor's Playbook. Chapter 11. Capital allocation in a volatile world. The Smart Investor's Playbook. What do all great investors have in common? No, it's not timing the market. It's not finding the next unicorn. It's not perfect predictions. It's resilience. In a world that's fast, uncertain, and often irrational, the ability to allocate capital strategically, patiently, and boldly becomes the ultimate edge. McKinsey's 2040 investment map isn't just a list of opportunities. It's a challenge. How do you place your bets in a world where the rules are still being written? Let's explore the investor mindset of the future. In the old world, capital allocation followed familiar rules: predictable interest rates, stable geopolitics, sector-based performance metrics, decades-long incumbency advantages. But between 2020 and 2030, we saw that world unravel. A global pandemic, war in Europe, supply chain fragility, monetary whiplash, tech disruptions outpacing policy, and by 2040, expect even more volatility, but also more concentrated upside. The new playbook must account for both. McKinsey identifies 3 dominant investor archetypes for the future. The frontier explorer places small, early bets in high-potential arenas like fusion, biotech, and space. Operates like a venture capitalist with a sovereign mindset. The systems builder invests in infrastructure layers, energy grids, cloud platforms, mobility networks. Plays the long game, owns the pipes. The adaptive rebalancer uses AI, data, and macro signals to constantly adjust their portfolio. Diversified, globally hedged. All 3 can win, but none can use yesterday's assumptions. Here are the key principles for 2040-centric investing. Thematic focus over sector thinking. Invest in arenas, not industries. Geopolitical intelligence is a must. Risk isn't just financial. It's cultural, regulatory, and kinetic. Time arbitrage. Most capital is short-term. Your edge is patience. Invest in infrastructure, not hype. Own the rails, not just the trains. Own optionality. Focus on platforms and APIs that can pivot as the market moves. Imagine this. It's 2030. Two investors are choosing between a flashy consumer AI startup and a cold storage logistics company digitizing food chains in Asia. Fast forward to 2040. The startup burned out in year 5. The logistics firm scaled to 12 countries and became the backbone of regional food security. That's the game. Resilient bets, boring infrastructure, deep conviction. Where should capital flow? McKinsey's 18 arenas and macro forecasts point to a few recurring themes: energy transition platforms, AI infrastructure, and compute resources, biotech data engines and drug discovery, AI global education and workforce systems, digital identity and cybersecurity protocols, modular manufacturing and relocalized supply chains. These aren't headline-grabbing plays. They're cash machines in the making. Final thought: conviction in chaos. Capital doesn't just follow opportunity, it shapes it. The investors who will dominate 2040 won't just chase trends. They'll anticipate systems. They'll understand the human and technological forces beneath the noise. They'll know when to wait and when to bet big. In the final chapter, we bring it all together. Who will win by 2040 and what that victory will look like. Chapter 12, Who will win by 2040? Every decade has its winners. The companies that captured the internet, the investors who saw China's rise, the builders who transformed data into platforms and attention into empires. But the winners of 2040, they'll be a different breed because we're entering a future defined not by one technology, but by the convergence of many. Not by one region, but by a shifting global order. Not by legacy thinking, but by those who learn faster, move sooner, and build smarter. So let's ask the question, who will win and why? It starts with mental models. Winners won't think in terms of industries, departments, product launches. Instead, they will think in arenas, ecosystems, flywheels, network effects. They'll understand that power now compounds faster than ever. That speed beats perfection. And that advantage is not earned once. It's maintained constantly. The companies that win in 2040 will operate across multiple arenas, build platforms, not just products, leverage data, AI, and software at every layer, and control part of the infrastructure stack, create monopolies of trust in health, identity, or finance, expand globally, but localize intelligently. And most of all, they'll adapt faster than others can respond. The investors who win by 2040 will bet early on exponential curves, bet big when conviction is earned, stay focused during hype cycles, diversify across geographies and themes, build long-term relationships, not just cap tables, see platforms and talent as the true alpha. They'll recognize that the biggest wins won't come from predicting the next app, but from backing the invisible layers of the next economy. And some of the biggest winners won't be companies or individuals. They'll be nations that invest in talent, not just trade, embrace regulatory flexibility and innovation, control, strategic resources like data, energy, and infrastructure. Attract the builders, not just the capital. Think Vietnam, think Nigeria, think Poland. The underdogs today may be the growth engines of tomorrow. Above all, the single greatest predictor of 2040 success, learning velocity, the ability to absorb information, reframe assumptions, pivot quickly, execute relentlessly, and do it again and again. The future won't reward the smartest. It will reward the fastest learners with the boldest action. Final takeaways. Let's bring it all together. McKinsey's 2040 map isn't a prediction. It's a call to action. It shows 18 high-growth arenas, dozens of breakthrough technologies, entirely new markets and business models, a massive redistribution of opportunity. It's up to you to decide. Will you watch from the sidelines, or will you step into the arena? Because the future won't be built by chance. It will be built by those who understand what's coming and start building now. This is the end of the audiobook, but it's the beginning of your blueprint. 2040 is closer than you think. Start positioning today so that 15 years from now, you'll be the one people say they saw it coming.